Across the American South, millions of wild hogs and giant reptiles are moving through farms, swamps, canals, and private property. The hogs tear through valuable crops in a single night. The reptiles appear beside livestock ponds, neighborhood lakes, and places where families and pets walk every day. Farmers build traps, hunters load their rifles. Wildlife officers enter the water after dark, because when these animals grow too numerous, ignoring them can mean destroyed land, dead livestock, dangerous encounters, and thousands of dollars lost before sunrise. Today, we will show you how American hunters, farmers, and professional trappers are using firearms, massive traps, boats, thermal equipment, and tightly controlled harvest programs to deal with two of the most powerful animals in the country, wild boars and giant American alligators. Did you know that approximately 6 million feral swine are believed to live across more than 30 American states? These animals are not ordinary farm pigs that wandered through an open gate yesterday. They are the descendants of escaped domestic pigs and Eurasian wild boars that have survived, reproduced, and spread through forests, wetlands, ranches, and agricultural land. Today, they are considered one of the most destructive invasive mammals in the United States. For farmers, the danger begins after dark. A sounder containing several adult females and their young can enter a field under the cover of darkness. They push their snouts into the soil, tear plants out by the roots, crush young crops, and leave behind wide sections of overturned ground. Cornfields are destroyed, pastures are ripped open, fences are damaged. Watering areas become muddy pits. By the time the farmer discovers the destruction in the morning, the hogs may already be several miles away. It is estimated that feral swine cause approximately $2.5 billion in damage and control costs across the United States every year, including at least $800 million connected directly to agriculture. But crop damage is only the beginning. Wild hogs compete with native animals for food, destroy fragile habitats, contaminate water, and prey on eggs, reptiles, young wildlife, and other vulnerable animals. They can also carry at least 30 viral and bacterial diseases and nearly 40 parasites capable of affecting people, pets, livestock, and wildlife. For a farmer raising domestic pigs, this creates another serious threat. One infected wild hog moving close to livestock can expose an entire operation to disease. If a dangerous livestock disease becomes established, the consequences can spread far beyond one farm. So, the hunters are called. Wild boars have powerful bodies, thick shoulders, sharp tusks, and a remarkable ability to survive. They also learn quickly. If hunters pressure the same area repeatedly, the animals may stop entering fields during daylight. They begin moving later at night, changing trails, and avoiding places where they encountered people before. This is why many American hog hunters work after sunset. They use elevated blinds, suppressed rifles where legal, night vision optics, and thermal scopes that reveal the heat of an animal, even when the surrounding field appears completely black. The hunters wait beside damaged crops, watering holes, or feeding locations. Nothing moves. The field remains silent. Then several glowing shapes enter the thermal image. One hog, 3 hogs, an entire sounder. The hunter must identify the animals clearly, confirm that the area behind them is safe, and wait for a responsible shot. Hold, fire. The first shot may cause the entire group to scatter. Some run toward cover, others cross the open field. Within seconds, the opportunity disappears. This makes firearms useful for removing individual animals, but shooting alone rarely eliminates an established population. The survivors become more cautious. They move somewhere else. Then they continue reproducing. Female feral hogs can begin breeding at a young age and may produce multiple piglets in a litter. Under favorable conditions, populations can rebuild rapidly after only a portion of the animals has been removed. This means a farmer may shoot several hogs and still find the same field destroyed again weeks later. The rifle solves the immediate problem. It does not always solve the population, and that is why farmers are turning to something much larger. A wild hog trap can begin with something as simple as bait scattered on the ground. But the most effective systems are designed to capture the entire sounder at once. Farmers and professional trappers install large circular enclosures made from heavy metal panels. A camera is placed nearby and connected to a remote monitoring system. At first, The gate remains open. The hogs approach carefully. They smell the bait. One enters, then another. But the trapper does nothing. Closing the gate too early could capture only one or two animals while teaching the remaining hogs to avoid the enclosure forever. So the trapper waits. For several nights, the sounder is allowed to enter, eat, and leave without resistance. Younger hogs become comfortable first. The adults follow. The camera records everything. 5 animals enter, then 8, then 12. Finally, the entire group is standing inside the enclosure. Drop it. The gate falls. The hogs charge toward the panels, searching for an opening, but the heavy enclosure holds them inside. This method gives farmers a chance to remove many animals during a single operation, instead of hunting them one at a time. However, trapping also requires patience, equipment, bait, cameras, transportation, and regular monitoring. A poorly installed trap can fail. A gate released too early can divide the group. An animal that escapes may become extremely difficult to capture again. This is why successful feral swine control usually combines several methods. Large traps remove complete groups. Firearms remove remaining animals. Dogs may be used in some regions to locate hogs in thick cover. Aircraft may be used during specialized control operations over large, open properties. State and federal wildlife specialists also work with landowners to identify new populations before they become permanently established. The National Management Program focuses not only on killing individual hogs, but on reducing agricultural damage, protecting property, limiting disease risks, and stopping the animals from expanding into new areas. But while farmers across much of the country fight hogs on dry land, people in the southeast face another enormous animal from the water. One capable of disappearing beneath the surface, without leaving more than a ripple. Many people call every large reptile in an American swamp a crocodile. But most of the animals legally hunted and removed in the United States are American alligators. This distinction matters. American crocodiles are found mainly in southern Florida. Their population is much smaller, and the Florida population remains protected as a threatened species under federal law. They are not the millions of reptiles being freely hunted by farmers. American alligators are different. Nearly 5 million are estimated to live across the southeastern United States, including approximately 1.25 to 1.3 million in Florida. They inhabit freshwater lakes, rivers, marshes, canals, retention ponds, and wetlands. Most alligators avoid people. But conflict begins when an animal loses its natural fear, is deliberately fed, appears repeatedly near homes, threatens pets or livestock, or grows large enough to become a danger in an area used by people. A small alligator lying far inside a remote marsh may create no serious problem. A 10-foot animal waiting beside a backyard pond is different. The animal can remain nearly invisible in dark water. Only its eyes and nostrils may appear above the surface. A dog walks toward the bank. A farmer approaches the pond. A child plays close to the edge. One sudden movement can turn an ordinary afternoon into a dangerous emergency. Florida operates a nuisance alligator program for animals that present a threat to people, pets, or property. Because the state has a large and stable population, nuisance animals are generally removed rather than relocated. Wildlife officials explain that relocation often fails because alligators may attempt to return or create new conflicts somewhere else. The call is made, the trapper arrives, and the work often begins after dark. Hunting an alligator is completely different from shooting a hog in an open field. The animal spends most of its time in water. Its armored back presents a difficult target, and an irresponsible shot can wound the animal without stopping it. For that reason, legal alligator harvest methods commonly require hunters to secure or restrain the animal before using a firearm or other approved method to dispatch it. A spotlight moves across the water. 2 red eyes reflect in the darkness. The boat approaches slowly. The alligator sinks. Gone. The hunters stop the engine and wait. Several minutes later, the eyes appear again farther along the bank. Move closer. Do not rush. Depending on the program and local rules, hunters may use equipment such as baited hooks, harpoons, snatch hooks, crossbows, bows, or air bows with tethered lines. The purpose is to attach a strong line to the animal so it can be controlled and brought close enough for a safe final shot. The line becomes tight. The water explodes. The alligator rolls, dives, and strikes the side of the boat with its tail. Pull. Hold the rope, Keep its head away. A large alligator can weigh hundreds of pounds. Even after being secured, it remains extremely powerful at close range. The hunters gradually bring the animal beside the boat. Only when they have established control can they prepare for the final stage. One accurate shot, the struggle stops. This is not uncontrolled shooting across a public swamp. Florida's statewide harvest is regulated through limited permits, designated hunting areas, seasons, licenses, and identification tags. The regular statewide recreational season runs from August 15 through November 1. Hunters must obtain the required trapping license, harvest permit, and hide validation tags. The state often receives more than 15,000 applications for approximately 7,000 permits, demonstrating how closely participation is controlled. Each hide is tagged, harvest information is recorded, the meat may be processed for consumption, while the skin and other parts can enter a regulated commercial system. This controlled harvest provides recreational opportunity and economic value while allowing wildlife managers to monitor the population. But licensed hunters are only one part of the system. When an alligator appears beside a home, attacks livestock, or repeatedly approaches people, nuisance trappers may have to respond immediately. For farmers working near swamps, canals, and southern wetlands, alligators are part of the landscape. Most of the time, people and alligators remain separated. The problem begins when livestock need the same water. Cattle approach the edge of a pond. A calf enters shallow water. Farm dogs patrol the bank. An alligator that has learned to associate farms with easy prey may return repeatedly. The farmer cannot simply fire into the pond. Firearm laws, property boundaries, hunting regulations, public safety, and wildlife protections still apply. In many situations, the responsible action is to contact state wildlife authorities or an authorized nuisance trapper. The trapper studies the water. Tracks in the mud reveal where the animal climbs onto land. A flattened section of grass shows where it rests. A trail through floating vegetation reveals its route. The trapper may set a legal capture device, monitor the site, or approach the animal directly from a boat. Once the alligator is secured, it is removed and dispatched according to the program's requirements. Florida also manages alligator harvest on qualifying private lands containing documented populations. This allows controlled removal from private property while preserving monitoring, tagging, and reporting requirements. The result is not the elimination of all alligators. That would destroy an important native predator and disrupt the wetlands it helps maintain. The goal is controlled coexistence. Dangerous animals are removed. Healthy populations remain. People protect their families, pets, and livestock without turning every alligator sighting into an excuse to shoot. This separates alligator management from the war against feral hogs. The hog is a destructive invasive species that wildlife agencies want to suppress and, where possible, eliminate. The alligator is a recovered native species that must be managed through controlled harvest and targeted nuisance removal. One animal is spreading through the land. The other belongs to the swamp. But when either one threatens farms, property, livestock, or human safety, American hunters and wildlife professionals move in. A rifle can stop one charging hog. It can dispatch one legally captured alligator, but it cannot manage millions of animals by itself. Feral hog control requires farmers, hunters, traps, cameras, wildlife specialists, disease monitoring, and rapid action against newly discovered populations. Alligator control requires permits, seasonal quotas, nuisance reporting, trained trappers, tagging systems, and rules that protect both the public and the species. Without those systems, the results can become dangerous. Random shooting may scatter hog populations across a larger area. An injured alligator may disappear underwater. Untrained people may fire toward roads, homes, boats, livestock, or other hunters. And when people mistake a protected American crocodile for a legal alligator, the consequences can become even more serious. This is why the most successful hunters do more than pull a trigger. They study the animal, they understand the land, they follow the law, they wait for the correct moment, then they act. Across American farms and wetlands, this battle continues every night. Wild boars enter another field. A camera sends an alert. A trap gate falls. An alligator appears beside another pond. A nuisance hunter launches his boat. For the people protecting these properties, population control is not simply a thrilling hunt. It is the difference between productive land and destroyed crops, between protected livestock and another animal lost, between controlling the threat today and facing an even larger one tomorrow. What do you think is the most effective method for controlling millions of wild hogs? Rifles, hunting dogs, or massive hole sounder traps? And should more American states introduce regulated alligator harvest programs where populations are large enough? Please share your opinion in the comments below.